So, like many who saw the trailer for this film, I assumed it was going to be a horror movie. Not that it's not quite a horror movie, but it's not fully horror, right? Sports horror, I guess you would say. But it is produced by Jordan Peele, but it is not directed by Jordan Peele. So, considering he lost out on, producing weapons, he was able to produce him. It was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. But the fact that it was starring Marlon Wayans, I was very excited because, this is just coming off him saying that they were bringing back the Scary Movie franchise. And I feel like this movie could easily be the forefront of a scary movie. I mean, it was a good movie, but it was just not at all what you were expecting it to be. The lead in it, Tyreek Withers playing Cameron Cale, he's fresh off of I Know What You Did, the new remake of I Know What You Did last summer. So I was just expecting a lot more from this film than I was actually given. But it was still fun, right? So the film follows this character, Cameron Cale, who's the up-and-coming football star, right? Played all through high school and college, and he's doing great. He's the next best quarterback, the next best thing. The previous quarterback who won like 8 games after a horrible injury is Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans. All throughout Cameron's life, he always looked up to Isaiah. His father looked up to Isaiah. His father pushed him to be a football player, and it turns out his father ended up passing away, and he didn't want to play football anymore, and which upset his father. So when his father passed, Cameron was like, I gotta keep playing. So now he's almost, in the league, and they were saying that he could be the one that fills Isaiah's shoes. So his manager ends up contacting Isaiah and gets this meeting together where Cameron's able to go to Isaiah's house right after he actually gets attacked on the field at night when he's training. This individual comes up behind him in this crazy ritualistic mascot outfit, and just cracks him over the head with this giant hammer, and like pretty much cracks his skull, gives him a fractured skull, and he ends up being out of play for a couple of weeks. But if he was to get hit in the head again, he could die, right? He could get swelling of the brain and he could die. So he's gonna go and train with Isaiah, who also broke his knee or broke his leg, I want to say, during one of the games 8 seasons ago, and was able to come back full force to win 8 Super Bowls or 8 champions or whatever. I don't really watch sports, so I wasn't really in this movie for the game. I was in this movie for the horror. But so he joins Isaiah in Isaiah's home in the fucking middle of nowhere to train and, see if he can make it to the big leagues, and actually has what it takes to be, the greatest ever was, the GOAT, as you would say. And as Cameron is there, he just starts seeing all this weird shit go on, and all these weird things that had to happen around the house of Isaiah's. His wife, played by Julia Fox, his wife Elsie, she's pretty cool, like, right? She's just super appreciative and just encouraging and just saying that everything's going to be great, you're going to love it. And I recognized her from the movie Presents that came out last year. She was actually the realtor that's like, oh, you're going to love this house, you're going to totally want this house, even though the house is possessed or it's there's a poltergeist fucking living in the house. The in-house coach is played by Jim Jeffries, the great comedian Jim Jeffries. Absolutely hilarious. Was not expecting him to be in the movie. So he's just there, like, seeing all this weird shit go on, and he's just wondering, like, is this what it takes to be the GOAT? Like, what are you gonna, because Isaiah's always saying, what are you gonna sacrifice? And he's like, everything. You gotta sacrifice everything for the game. All that there is football. Football is life. And so it turns out that there's actually like a cult that is running this team, and they don't really explain anything about it. It's just in imagery and in this ridiculous club scene, and then the climax of the film. But the whole time I'm watching it, all I kept thinking of was like Angels in the Outfield, but it's like the reverse version. It's like the Colts and the quarterback. But it's like, it was just so random. But I just thought it was going to be better. I kind of thought it was going to be more. Tyreek's portrayal of this character, Cameron Cale, is so dry. Like, he has no emotion. Everything that happens to him is just kind of like, as a matter of fact, this is going on. Just got to deal with it. It's just a normal day. Like, he does not have any emotion in him whatsoever until the end of the movie. And even then, barely any emotion, because he just kind of kills everybody when he finds out that they're all a cult. They've pretty much pampered him through life. They groomed him to become this next great player that the cult would like sacrifice or whatever. And it's just ridiculous. Like, they really left so much out that it's like, if Jordan Peele would have directed and written this movie, it probably would have been a lot better. But the premise works. Everybody loves sports. Everyone, idolizes sports people in the games or the team, whatever state you're from. And of course, if someone had a cult that was influencing that character with magic or black magic or whatever it is. People idolizing that character would obviously make them stronger, would make them be able to win, would make whatever hold it like bond stronger. I mean, it does make complete sense, but it was just the execution. I just feel like wasn't quite there. It was a fun film. Marlon Wayans' character was pretty sadistic in scenes, but for what it's worth, again, this would make a great scary movie premise of, things happening all around this character, and this character just being like, well, you know what, this is it, but I like football. I don't care about any of this stuff as long as I get to play some football, and that's pretty much what, in the scene in the trailer where the guy's getting hit in the face repeatedly by a football, every time he doesn't throw the pass fast enough, he just kind of keeps throwing the fucking ball. I would have just stopped, right? You would just think, like, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to be the GOAT because I'm not going to sacrifice this dude's face for every time I decide to throw the ball. But the guy just is laughing, and then Marlon Wayans is like, you got to get your shit together. Every time you don't throw, this guy's going to get fucked up. And the guy doesn't die. Like, it would have been cool if he died or his face got all fucked up and, like, contorted, but he just kind of gets a bloody nose and like a black eye, but he had a football fucking flung in his face like 20 times, So I don't know. It just, and then like I said, the ending, when you realize it was a cult, when you realize that he was being groomed for all of this, it all kind of he just kind of kills everybody and then just leaves. And then there's like a pentagram on the floor. His manager, Tim Heidecker, ends up being like pulled onto this pentagram and like seemingly just explodes because he wasn't able to like finish the ritual. Jim Jeffries is actually the one that is sacrificed, his character. So, what are you willing to sacrifice? I guess your coach, your on-site coach, because he didn't have to, it would have been better if like his family was brought in or someone of his family was killed. Anything would have been better than just having it be like this really bland take on a cult. We all know cults can be crazy, and this cult was nothing shy of pathetic. And for what it's worth, again, the fact that Marlon Wayans was in it and it was produced by Jordan Peele, I mean, I will forever know Jordan Peele from Key and Peele, and Marlon Wayans is one of the Wayans brothers. So I'm like, this would be a better funny premise than a horror movie. It was marketed as a horror movie, but nah, it wasn't. Besides the fact that he's always being injected with the Cameron's always being injected with like Isaiah's blood here and there, like getting nicked with needles, and he just doesn't care. It's like, what the shit? Like, I would not be down, especially you don't even know if they're steroids and you're just letting them stick you with needles. Like, nah. But again, I mean, for those who love football, who love sports, I would definitely suggest to check it out because it is sports related. If you like horror movies, maybe it's not going to tickle your horror fancy, but if you like at least suspenseful thrillers, I mean, I guess it fits into that category at best. But it didn't even have many suspenseful moments. The only moment that really like kind of tripped me out and actually kind of freaked me out is when very early on in the movie, when Cameron's walking into the hallway after a game, or maybe even before a game, and this guy's standing there in like, he's all makeup, like doing the makeup of whatever team he's on, and he's just looks all freaky, but then he takes off his hood or what mask or whatever he's wearing. He's like this fat white guy, and he's just like, bah, he just starts like fucking making goat noises, and then the scene changes and you never see that guy again. So you're just kind of like, what the fuck? Why? And what was that all about? You know what I mean? So yeah, it was all right. I mean, I definitely, it wasn't scary. It wasn't a horror movie. It was fun, but not really my cup of tea. But yeah, check it out. Him. I can't wait for Her, right? They're going to be there's got to be a Her film about a woman in women's sports doing the same shit, giving her soul to be a great ballet dancer. Or maybe that's Black Swan or Suspiria. Or maybe she's in female basketball. I don't know. Gonna have a bunch of like dildos flying all over the place. Or at least do a they them movie. But I think they already did that, and it had to do with Kevin Bacon and a bunch of kids at some camp. So camp counselor shit. So whatever. But yeah, definitely check it out. If you're into sports, at least. If you like football, definitely would be a fun film. But yeah, this has been Ghost and Craig. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And Marlon, I can't wait to see what you do for Scary Movie, for the new Scary Movie film that they're working on. And I hope you use him in it, because if you don't, total missed opportunity. But yeah, peace.